Hello, investors and traders, and welcome to the weekly market report. I'm AJ Monte, and this is a daily candle chart of the Dow Jones Industrial Average ETF, ticker symbol DIA. And if you had a chance to watch the midweek report yesterday that we broadcasted live at the market close, you'll know that I more or less gave everyone a heads up that I was leaning still to the downside. And as of today, the Dow is down about 500 points. It was down a little bit more earlier today, but as of the time of this recording, we're down around 500 points. Now, I still believe we have more downside to go. And then we have to keep our eyes on what's going on in Iran, because many of you are tracking the story are looking at the Iranian foreign minister here rejecting calls for a ceasefire. Well, I would have to say they're not exactly in a good place for negotiations at this point, because as Donald Trump said, they're running out of targets to hit. And so the regime is being annihilated here, and the Iranian people know that. I think the biggest threat that they pose to our financial markets right now is with regard to the oil moving in and out of the Strait of Hormuz. And they're planting mines there. They're doing their best to disrupt the delivery of oil. So that's putting a hurting on our inflation numbers, because obviously when oil goes up, the cost of everything goes up. So we have to keep an eye on that. I think this is one of the most ridiculous headlines you could ever imagine, that they're rejecting calls for a ceasefire. And Donald Trump has already mentioned earlier this week that there are no conditions except for an unconditional surrender. And I think that eventually he will get that. But in the meantime, you could see here through our Nod Live feed, these are the conditions that they were talking about: the removal of all unjust sanctions. Yeah, okay, good luck with that one. Recognition of Iran's right to enrich uranium on its own soil. Well, that is definitely not happening. In fact, I think the next military move is we're going to go over there and confiscate all of their uranium. So that will squash that argument right there. And they, again, another ridiculous condition is that they're looking for compensation for the damages caused by the imposed war. I mean, it goes on and on. These are all absolutely ridiculous requests, but this is the condition, and this is the state of Iran at this particular point in time. Now, there's a lot going on economically here outside of Iran. And we had this come over this morning from the Nod Live news feed. I talk about this every Wednesday, by the way, because Nod, who puts out this news, and he's been beating Bloomberg to the punch with regard to the news releases. And this is a big one here, because Cliffwater has a $33 billion flagship fund, and they've capped redemptions at 7%. So this story is not just with Morgan Stanley, and it started off actually with BlackRock limiting redemptions. And so think about this, you're telling your investors who want out that they can't get out, and it's going to be in smaller amounts, not as a big chunk. They're trying their best to raise more money to replace the investors that are trying to pull out. And there's all kinds of events going on even as we speak this week with Morgan Stanley. But JP Morgan has marked down the value of his software-linked loan portfolio, as you can see here, and it's limiting lending to private credit groups. So money is getting very tight among these big houses. And so remember what happened. For those who don't remember the past, they're doomed to repeat it. Remember Bear Stearns, when Jim Cramer said, oh, there's no way Bear Stearns is going to go under. In fact, I'd be buying it, and boom, belly up not too long after that comment. But that is going to absolutely put pressure on the general markets, and I'll get to the moving averages here in a moment. Let me get back to the forecasting of the Dow. I think we still have a little bit more to go. I think we're going to go and test this support level from Monday here. And then I think we're going to see a little bit of a bounce. And I say a little bit because we got a gap up here that's going to act as resistance. Remember my gap fill rules. Once a gap fills, and that's about 80% of the time, you then have an 80% chance that the price will reverse from that gap fill resistance area right there. And then it could be game on for another leg lower in this ABCD pattern right here. So right now, as I mentioned yesterday to our members especially, we have an A pattern forming at the pivot on top here. We had the pivot B. C was as of yesterday when we had the lower high, lower low. So I think we could very well see a test of this low from Monday or even a breakout below that. So this is more or less a big question mark on what's going to happen at that support level. So if you are short, I would be very cautious on the short term, maybe to cover the short term short positions. But for our option traders, we still have a very long-term plan to ensure the portfolios with negative delta option spreads. So that's working out very nicely. In fact, we put out a trade publication to our members yesterday on a QQQ position that is working out very well just after the first day. So that is DIA. IWM is not looking as bearish. In fact, I'm going to put an upside target on this one for next week. You could see all of the previous targets have been hit. Downside target hit, upside target hit, upside hit, hit, downside hit again. This is the power of technical analysis, folks. You know, sometimes I scratch my head and I go, how could people not absolutely want what we're doing here? I mean, I'm giving this to you free on YouTube. Here's the analogy that I was thinking about early this morning when I was looking at the futures markets. I'm thinking, how much would people pay for tomorrow's financial section of the Wall Street Journal? How much would you pay for tomorrow's publication? Well, although there's no guarantees here, that's exactly what the charts are telling us. Remember, each one of these diagonal lines here are forecasts, and every single one of those targets were hit. Every single one. And now I'm going a little bit higher because I think we're at a support level. And I say a little bit, and again, I'll show you why when I look at the moving averages. But the main reason I'm going higher on IWM is because we have this drop in volume, and this candle right here is very close to a hammer candle. And with that said, we have the CCI down below already oversold, and this gap above the market will act as a more or less a price magnet. And you can see what I mentioned before. Here was an open gap. You see that? That was back in January. Well, what happened? On Monday, the gap filled. 80% of the time, that's what's going to happen. Then what happened after the gap filled? Boom, it reversed. And so if we get the gap fill up here, right at that little bitty gap, you could see a reversal lower. But right now, the draw on IWM is going to be to the upside. And I can't make very big moves, especially with what's happening in Iran and around the world geopolitically, because we could come out of next weekend saying, oh, there's peace around the world, and then the markets rally, 1,000 points from there. And it could very well happen that way. Oil will drop immediately, markets would rally on that kind of news, and then everyone will be back into buy mode. So hold on to your hats, again, because longer term, I'm still bearish. But there's going to be a lot of trading opportunities. And in fact, there's going to be more trading opportunities than I could even count at this point. Looking at QQQ, you can see that we did hit the downside target on Monday and then bounced. I think we're going to go down to that target once again and test that. And then I think we're going to see a bounce from there. So this is more or less like a two-parter because there's another gap up here. So a little bit more downside on the Qs to retest that downside target that we had right there, 596.29, and then a bounce up to 602.86 to fill or attempt to fill that gap right there. So that's the Qs. Looking at SPY, we're going to see something very similar. We are right at the target that was already hit on Monday, and we have that volume drop. So here's another gap fill opportunity. Again, very small move here to fill that gap on the upside for SPY. That's 673.90. Actually, I'm going to round that up a couple of pennies to 674. get rid of those pennies. You see, when I drop that line, I just leave, usually I leave what's in the data box there, but in this case, I'll get rid of those 2 pennies and go to 674. Then we could see another leg lower, but we're going to take this one leg at a time. Again, looking at SPY, look at all those targets that have been hit. You see that? Every single target that I'm circling here is a previous target where the charts told us exactly where the market was going. Every single one. So is there a good chance that we could see an upside target hit here? Yeah, I'd say it's even better than a good chance. I think it's a great chance that we'll see that happen. And that doesn't mean I'm going to go out there and get long, and buy everything on the board. I'm still long silver. The silver metals and the mining stocks are still looking very good. Look at PAAS. That's looking like a hammer candle right there. I have an upside target on PAS from our members at 64.41. You look at AG, which is First Majestic. I still have an upside target on that, holding support very nicely. Even some of the mining stocks, the rare earth metals, USAR was one we were talking about last night. I said that we'll first have a downside target. I think that will hit, and then I think we'll see it bounce off of that 20-period moving average. So there are a lot of opportunities where you could park money more or less in safe havens. I'm just giving you ideas. These aren't recommendations or advice that I'm giving you. These are just what I'm pulling out of the charts, and it's working out very well. So again, SPY, I think we're going to go up to fill that gap, and then I think we could come lower, but again, we got to take that one leg at a time. Looking at the VIX, I think we're going to see a little bit of a pullback on the VIX. So here's a two-parter on the VIX. Little bit of a pullback, and then I think we're going right back up to test this former target of 28.57. That's a green dotted line. But take a step back, you can see that that target was in place for a while. I think the markets are going to flirt with that VIX level for a little while before going higher. And ultimately, I think we're going to go a lot higher on the VIX, because this level up here of 36.85, which came very close to hitting on Monday, that is a gap that is still open. Now, 100% of the gaps on the VIX fill, not 80 like regular stocks or ETFs. 100% of the gaps fill. So we're getting closer and closer to that gap filling. I can guarantee you that gap will one day fill. We just don't know when the big day will be. It could be any day or it could be any week, and maybe even a little bit longer. But in the meantime, we're looking at the VIX more on the bullish side, which, because the VIX is inversely related to the S&P, we're looking at putting on negative delta spreads on the S&P over time for as long as the VIX is looking bullish. Again, for the most part, the VIX is inversely related. So if I'm bullish on the VIX, I'm going to be bearish longer term on the S&P. Now, on the longer term, I want to look one more time. I talked about this yesterday on the live report, but I want to show you what's going on here on the Qs especially. And as I magnify that, you see the green line, that's the 50-period moving average. Yesterday, it crossed below the red line, which is the 100-period moving average, and that's a big event. Now, if we get down to this level again, bounce, and we start turning lower from here in more or less an ABCD pattern, this gray line is the 200-period moving average. Once that price crosses below the 200-period moving average, and I think it will, that is going to be the big headline across all financial programming. It's going to be a big announcement because we haven't had that happen in a long time. Now, when prices drop below the 200, investors start moving out, funds start liquidating certain positions, and the algorithms start kicking in, very much like what we saw here today. Yesterday, I mentioned that when that cross occurs, algorithms start to sell positions automatically, and that's why yesterday I was still looking at a down day today and the rest of the week, because of the fact that the algorithms are still launching sell orders into the system. So that is our report for this week. Again, please like and share. Share with everyone you know. We should have hundreds of thousands of subscribers at this point, and let people know, hey, you want to get a look at the financial markets for tomorrow? Well, here you go. Look at this chart and teach people how to read the charts, just like I'm teaching you how to read the charts. and we'll all be better off for it. So once again, thank you for watching. We'll talk to you next time. So long.
In a world of endless data, where every second counts, introducing Nod Live, your professional compass in the chaos of the stock market. Nod Live cuts through the noise. Stay ahead with Nod Live.